What if I told you that one man, born more than 2,000 years ago, still controls the way we think about truth, justice, politics, education, and even reality itself? That man was Plato. From the idea of the perfect society to the famous allegory of the cave, Plato's philosophy shaped the modern world in ways most people don't even realize. So today, we're diving deep into the mind of Plato, the student of Socrates, the teacher of Aristotle, and one of the greatest thinkers in human history. Part 1. Who was Plato? Plato was born around 427 BCE in ancient Athens. He came from a wealthy and politically powerful family. But instead of becoming a politician, Plato became obsessed with philosophy after meeting Socrates. Now here's the important part. Socrates never wrote anything down. Everything we know about him mostly comes from Plato's writings. But then, something tragic happened. The government of Athens sentenced Socrates to death. For Plato, this was shocking. He believed society had failed a truly wise man. And that moment changed his life forever. He dedicated himself to answering one massive question. How can humans build a just and wise society? That question became the foundation of Plato's philosophy. Part 2. The world of forms. One of Plato's most famous ideas is called the theory of forms. Plato believed that the world we see around us is not the true reality. Crazy, right? According to him, everything physical is imperfect. For example, every chair looks different. Every human is imperfect. Every circle we draw is never perfectly round. But in another realm, beyond our physical world, there exists a perfect version of everything, a perfect beauty, a perfect justice, a perfect circle. These perfect ideas are what Plato called forms. So basically, the physical world is only a shadow of a higher reality, and humans spend their lives confusing shadows for truth. Part 3. The allegory of the cave. This brings us to Plato's most legendary story, the allegory of the cave. Imagine prisoners chained inside a dark cave since birth. They can only see shadows on a wall. To them, those shadows are reality. But one prisoner escapes. For the first time, he sees the real world, the sun, nature, truth. At first, the light hurts his eyes, but slowly he realizes the shadows were fake all along. Then he returns to the cave to free the others. But the prisoners reject him. They don't want the truth. Now here's why this story is powerful even today. Plato believed most people live mentally inside the cave, controlled by ignorance, illusions, and false beliefs. And philosophy is the journey out of the darkness. Even today, this idea connects to social media manipulation, fake news, propaganda, blind beliefs, mass psychology. The cave never disappeared. It just became digital. Part 4. Plato's idea of the perfect society. In his famous book, The Republic, Plato described his ideal society. And honestly, some ideas sound brilliant, others sound terrifying. Plato believed society should be ruled by philosopher kings, not celebrities, not rich businessmen, not manipulators, but wise people trained in truth and reason. According to Plato, most humans are driven by desire, greed, emotion. So they make bad decisions, but philosophers seek wisdom instead of power. That's why Plato thought philosophers should rule society. However, critics say this idea could become dangerous because who decides who is wise enough to rule? And that debate still exists today. Part 5. Plato's impact on the world. Plato's influence is almost impossible to measure. His student Aristotle went on to shape science and logic. His ideas influenced Christianity, politics, psychology, education, ethics, mathematics, Western philosophy itself. In fact, one philosopher famously said, "All of Western philosophy is basically a series of footnotes to Plato." That's how important he was. So why does Plato still matter today? Because the questions he asked are still our questions. What is truth? What is justice? What makes a good society? Are we seeing reality or just shadows? More than 2,000 years later, humanity is still searching for those answers. And maybe we're all still trying to escape the cave.